Hi, and welcome to this episode of the Keto Vegan Podcast. I'm Rach. I am your host. In today's episode, I am hosting a lunch for 12 people plus my 1-year-old granddaughter and am serving up a variety of things. Now, I do lots of videoing when I'm preparing and think that I'm going to do some videoing once I serve up as well and looking at the food that's all cooked. But I'd had a couple of glasses of bubbly by then, and it was absolutely manic serving up for 12 plus the baby. And I completely forgot, didn't do it. So I'm really sorry about that. But I'm hoping you find lots of inspiration and ideas if you are going to do something similar. Please subscribe or follow the podcast, share it with your friends, and let me know what you think of the ideas. Enjoy. I thought I should also tell you before we get into it what I actually cook. So I wake up at about 4:30 in the morning and start prepping because I had had a very lazy day the day before. And first of all, I start making the desserts. I make a chocolate cheesecake, which is keto and well, everything's vegan. And then I make a lemon mousse. So I do those first, get them in the fridge. I then prep the savory stuff, and we have a joint of juicy marbles, their loin. I do some asparagus. I do roasted tomatoes on the vine, baby tomatoes on the vine with thyme. I also do artichokes with garlic and rosemary. I do roasted celeriac. And is that it? I think so. Oh no, I do Antwerp sprouts, which I haven't actually got a video of because I was very busy. I am going to do Antwerp sprouts again when it's Christmas, and I'm going to change the cream I use. I used Elmerly double, but it went too thin when I was cooking it. So I'm going to find another vegan thick double cream to use. I might look at the Oatly or some other options for cooking. So now let's get into it. Do enjoy the episode, and I'll see you next time. For the chocolate cheesecake base, I've got an 8-inch square dish. I've lined that so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Line it with whatever you've got, make sure it's really non-stick. Then I've got 150 grams of almond flour, 40 grams of cocoa powder and of no sugar. I'm using some brown for cooking sugar there, and 100 grams of butter melted. Mix all that together. So that's all mixed together. I'm going to then press it into the dish and bake it for about 12 to 15 minutes on a preheated oven of 160 degrees. So press down the base so it goes right to the edges. For the filling, you need 225 grams of chocolate and melt that gently. Now you can either melt that in in a bowl over a saucepan of boiling water, or very carefully in the microwave. You do not want it to overcook and burn. You then also have, in here I've got 300 grams of cream cheese, 100 grams of sugar, and a very generous teaspoon, I might have even put 2 teaspoons in there, of vanilla essence. You also need 2 tablespoons of cocoa to mix with your 2 pots of double cream. That's 500 ml of double cream. Beat the cream cheese with the sugar and the vanilla. You whip the cream with the cocoa powder, and you over whip the cream because I find that plant-based cream needs a lot more whipping than non-plant-based. And here's the chocolate melted. What I'm going to do now, I am going to keep whisking the cream and add the cream cheese bit by bit. And then once that's all combined, I'm going to then pour in the chocolate. This is the cream cheese and double cream mixed together. It looks really thick, but I'm going to keep whisking it for a bit longer because when I pour in the chocolate, it's going to make it quite runny, I reckon. I'd prefer it to be too thick than too runny because it's going to be a cheesecake. Wow, that's a lot thicker than I thought, which is really good. I've now got the base out of the oven. I'll let that cool, and then I'm going to put the topping on the base. This is the chocolate that I've used. I got it online, and I've got a few little chocolate chips left. I'm going to mix those through so there's nice little crunchy or chocolatey bits of chocolate in the cheesecake topping. Here's the finished chocolate cheesecake with the little chocolate drops on the top. I'm now going to put that in the fridge so it's nice and set. I mean, it is really solid now, but it does need to go in the fridge. To make a lemon mousse, so I am going to use 3 pots of the Elmley double, which is suitable for whipping, thank goodness. That's 750 ml of cream. I'm using 3 tubs of the Violife, which is a really nice flavour. So you can either use the Philadelphia plant-based cream cheese or the Violife. Violife is slightly cheaper, and that's 600 grams of cream cheese. This is the sugar that I'm using this time, and I'm using 75 grams of that. Have I said the zest and juice of 2 lemons? Probably. And I'm just going to garnish it with white grapes. Do not eat the white grapes if you're sticking to keto. Those are for decoration and for your guests. What you do with this, you chuck it all in. Place it carefully. You chuck it all in. Actually, am I going to do that? No, I think I'm going to whip the cream first so it's nice and stiff. Then I'm going to add the cream cheese and whip that with the sugar, and then the zest and juice of the 2 lemons. And then mix it all up, put it in a bowl, and top it with grapes. Definitely got too much cream. I have got 12 people for lunch though, so I will stick with that. I just hope I've got enough big enough bowl to put it all in. That's just the cream done. I haven't even added the cream cheese yet. I did whisk that with sugar. Here is the enormous lemon mousse. I managed to find a massive bowl. Now, if you don't want to put grapes on it, just top it with some of the zest of the lemon, which looks really lovely. But because I bought the grapes, I'm going to put some of those on top. And here's the finished lemon mousse. Some grapes on the top. I rinsed those first, just to make sure there's no pest control chemical, whatever, on them. And that's now also going to go in the fridge. For a starter, or something just to tide people over until we eat at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I've invited people from 11 midday-ish, and I know that waiting until 2 o'clock sometimes can be a bit long for some people. So I'm going to do some small stuffed chestnut mushrooms. I am going to do it with the bacon lardons from this, the Sainsbury's free from cream cheese. That's good for cooking, doesn't go watery. I'm going to spray oil on my tins. I'm going to heat up some oil and butter. I'm also going to add smoked paprika for some nice flavour. And I've got some chives growing in the garden. I will add those to it as well. I've pulled out the stalks of the mushrooms and put them there ready. I'm now going to chop up all the insides to start frying that. I also forgot to say that I'm going to just top them with a little bit of grated cheese. Bacon lardons are simmering? No, they're not. They're frying, sizzling. I don't know. I did add a bit of garlic granules in there as well because it's a starter rather than a breakfast. I normally have stuffed mushrooms for breakfast. The stuffed mushrooms are ready to go in the oven. They're not going to go in until, let's say, about 11 o'clock, ready for people to eat at past. I'll preheat the oven to 180 degrees, put them in for 20 to 25 minutes. Roasted celeriac. So celeriac's all knobbly and everything, if you haven't seen it before, but you take off all the outer flesh and it looks like you're taking off loads. But you're left with this lovely carb-free thing that you can roast. It doesn't taste exactly like potatoes, but unless you tell people, they don't really realise. Well, so much for me saying they don't really realise. My daughter said to me after, she said, I didn't like the celeriac, Mum. Chris really liked it though. That's her partner. So, don't always listen to me. Try it yourself and see what happens. But when I've done roasted celeriac in the past, people haven't noticed, but it might be because of the amount of gin that they drunk and the other flavours on the dish. Okay, so here's a picture of the juicy marble loins. I actually bought 3 packs. I'm saving one for Christmas. I served 2 on this day. So they roasted really, really well. They were only in the oven for half an hour, maybe a bit longer. I'd seasoned them before. I'd got them out of the freezer 2 days before and then out of their packs early that morning. As you know, I was up incredibly early, so probably about 5:36. I got them out and I seasoned them with a little bit of salt because I've made the mistake before when I've had the juicy marbles ribs and I've put too much seasoning on. So a little bit of salt and pepper, let it rest in the dish, and then roasted it with plenty of oil because they do tend to stick to the pans. And when I carved it, it actually comes apart rather than slices. So I tried with a straight edged blade to begin with. that didn't work. Then I tried like a bread knife serrated, and that didn't really work either. But everybody really loved it. We're going to have that Christmas Day as well. One joint. I'm not so haven't got as many people for lunch, but I'll also do the options of the juicy marbles ribs, and I'm going to do an option of a redefined steak as well. Now, if I hadn't had the tomatoes on the vine, the plate would have looked quite beige. And so this is why I chose to do the roasted tomatoes with the thyme instead of collie cheese. Now, my family love collie cheese. It's quite rich. Okay, so there we have it. We've got the juicy marbles loins, the roasted tomatoes with thyme. Haven't got a picture of the asparagus, as I said. I mean, I did video it, but then it cut off somehow. That's my videoing skills. And I hadn't even had anything to drink other than coffee and tea at that point. So I don't know what went on there. Maybe I need somebody doing my videoing for me, having an assistant. That's the thing with being very independent, though, isn't it? You just do everything yourself and then mess up sometimes. Anyway, carry on watching. Much more to come. Artichoke hearts out of a tin, 4 tins of those. I got those from Sainsbury's. 2 bulbs of garlic, I think, are in there, and some rosemary from the garden with some olive oil. I will roast those for 30 minutes max. Well, let's see how they go, because there's going to be lots in the oven. So the drinks that I'm doing for my birthday lunch, I am going to do espresso martini, Porn Star Martini, and a Hugo. A Hugo has got elderflower gin in it, soda water, mint and bubbly. Porn Star Martini's got vanilla vodka, Passoa, passion juice, lime juice, and then a shot of bubbly. And your Kahlua, sorry, no, not your Kahlua, but your espresso martini has got vodka, Kahlua and coffee. 2 shots of vodka, 1 shot of Kahlua, 1 shot of coffee. Here are my drinks. The spirits getting ready, cocktail shakers, the syrups, all sugar-free, passion fruit cut ready, lime juices cut ready. Oh, I need to get the mint out. The other drinks that I had, which I didn't mention when I was videoing on Sunday morning, were red wine, Pinot Noir. I had some Cremant as well, which is, I really like this bubbly now. It doesn't really give a hangover, which is lovely. And you can get a vegan one as well. I had some beer in the fridge that had been bought at a previous party. So some of the men prefer a beer. I also had some alcohol-free beer in the fridge for my other daughter and her boyfriend. And there was also white wine, rosé wine, all dry, all low carbs as well. And my son and his girlfriend got through a bottle of gin, which I didn't even notice that he bought me for the day. And then the next morning I got up and it was empty, and it's a nice pink bottle. So I like it to go with my empty gin bottle selection. So that's okay. Well done for getting this far. I'm very proud of you. So I'm glad you're still here. I hope you enjoyed it. What do you do for a big roast dinner? I'm so pleased that there are now things like these juicy marbles loins, and there are other things out there as well that I haven't tried yet. I'm going to do some more research and in the new year maybe try some of those, because it's November now and we'll be going forward into 2025 very soon. Next episode, I'll talk about the Cozy Club, their vegan options. It'll be a short one, I'm sure. We went there for lunch, or a very late lunch, the Friday before my birthday with my children and their other halves. See you then.